Beautiful glam gals, thank you so much for joining me today. I am so excited to show you this unique look that I have called chocolate covered strawberries. So today we're going to be using these 4 gorgeous colors and building your eyeshadow, blending it out, and getting you all fiercely fabulous for Valentine's Day. I thank you guys for your support. This is my second video doing this setup, so I'm still learning and I appreciate y'all's patience. So if you have any comments or questions, be sure to comment below, give it a thumbs up, and I hope to see you again next time. So let's get started. Okay, so we are ready to start. We have our eyes primed. If you don't have any eye primer, then totally use your concealer. Put concealer on your eyelids and then set it with a translucent powder. If you do have a primer, then stick that primer on there, and I still set it with a translucent powder or even a base shade that is like skin tone shade. All right, so here's our palette. I call this chocolate covered strawberries. So we have our inner corner color. This is Blossom. This is a really gorgeous pale pink color. And we're going to use this all over our lid as our base color and then also as a brow bone highlight. Then we also have our crease color, which is a nice neutral tone. This is Hazelnut. We're going to use this in our crease to build a base. This is the strawberry portion. This is Sunlit Rose. It has a nice bit of shimmer to it. And we're going to use this on the outer corners, probably about halfway over. And then our wonderful accent color here is Hot Fudge. So this is the chocolate part. So the chocolate part will go on the outer corners in a small accent shade, little V shape. And so I'm going to show you how to blend these out beautifully to where you are ready for Valentine's Day and good to go. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the light shade. This is Blossom. I'm going to dip my brush into the product a little bit like this. Get some on your brush, and we are going to start on the inner corner and we're going to tap it in. This keeps from any fallout happening and landing on your face. So I just like to tap it around and then drag. Tap and then drag. Once you have that nice base on your eyelid, then we're going to go in with our mid-tone, which is our crease color. I am going to use a nice fluffy brush. So here I have the Effortless Crease Brush by IT Cosmetics. I'm going to take it into my mid-tone color here. This is Hazelnut. It's a nice skin tone kind of color with a little bit of brown. So I'm just going to tap my product in it, get some on the end, knock off any excess, and start on the outer corner and make windshield wiper marks here. And then very lightly, you're not pressing hard or anything, you're very lightly taking that color and going to the inner corner, or I'm sorry, into the crease. I make little circle swirly marks, and then I also do windshield wipers. Once you have that color put in there, step back and open your eyes and look in the mirror and make sure that you can actually see that color. I have extremely hooded eyes, so a lot of times whenever I put anything in my crease and I open my eyes, then the color disappears. So I want to make sure that I can see my crease color. I open my eyes, I look straight into the mirror, and I can see that color on the top of my crease. Once you feel that there's no more color on your brush, you're not seeing any more color being deposited anywhere, then you want to take that brush and you want to really buff out the outside edges to eliminate any harsh lines. So I just go around the outside and do swirl marks, very lightly touching my eye. There's like there's no pressure, okay? It looks, my eyelids are extremely hooded, so I have a lot of eyelid skin, if that makes sense. So a lot of times whenever I move this around, my eyelid is moving and it looks like I have a whole lot of pressure on my brush, but I don't, I promise. It is very light strokes and you're just going around and you're blending out that color in your crease. Once you get your crease color in and you've got it blended out with the fluffy brush, we're going to stay fluffy but a little bit more precise. And we're going to use the Absolute Shadow Brush by IT Cosmetics. So then we're going to go into our Dusty Rose color here. I'm sorry, Sunlit Rose color. And so I just want to pick up some product on the end, like so, and then I'm going to tap off any excess. And I'm going to start on the outside corner, and I'm going to swirl my way onto the inside of my inner eye, about halfway over. So I want the color to come over onto my eyelid, about halfway through my actual eyeball in the middle of my pupil. And I'm just lightly swirling in circles in the middle of my eyelid. Once you get that beautiful Sunlit Rose color put on there, then we want to go back to our other brush that we just used, our fluffy brush, and we're not going to add any product to it or anything, but we're going to use this brush to really blend out that color and make it seamlessly fade into the hazelnut color that we use for our crease. So I just like to go around the edges and do light little swirls to get that to blend. So can you see how this eye is now softer? There's not any harsh lines. Like right here is a harsh line on this side. So I'm just going to take my brush and swirl around and soften that line. Now that we have our pink blended into our brown crease color, now we're going to go in with a more precise brush, a smaller brush. It has more control, and this is the small shadow brush. And we're going to go into our hot fudge here and lightly grab some on the end, knock off the excess, and now we're going to get closer to the end of our brush. This is more precision, so this allows us to place the product exactly where we want it. The farther away from the end of your brush, or I'm sorry, the farther towards the end of your brush, the more soft it's going to be, and that's how you use the brush to feather out any sort of looks. But if you want to know exactly and be very precise about where you're placing your eyeshadow, then you want to be close to the end of your brush. So we're going to go in and we're just going to tap this right here on the outside corner and make a small V color, or I'm sorry, a small V shape. Okay, so whenever I make that V shape, I want to make sure that the point of that V is kind of like extending this bottom lash line and going up. So that's where I want my V to be, okay? Once I have my V shape made, then I will then take the brush, come out towards the end of it, and now I will use small swirl marks to blend that deeper color into the other colors that we have placed there. Once we have placed the V shape with our deepest color, then we're going to go back to that big fluffy brush from the very beginning. I'm not going to add any product to it, I'm just going to use it to blend. So I'm going to make on the outside edges little swirl marks to really blend that color in to the other colors we have placed there. So we have our shades all blended together using our big fluffy brush. So now I'm gonna go back to my concealer brush. This is the brush that I use to put my concealer on and prime my eyes. It's just a flat brush. I haven't cleaned it or anything, but I'm gonna go into my Blossom, which is this lighter color that we used as the all over base color. I'm gonna go back into it and I'm going to lightly touch this to the brow bone. So this is going to be our brow highlight. I go right underneath the brow bone and I also pull down a little bit. And this will help if you feel as though you've taken your darker colors too high. So we're just pulling this down to help counteract that. Once you get the brow bone color on, then we're gonna go back to that fluffy brush and we are going to blend that just to make sure that there is no weird lines or anything like that. So I just go up here and I do some windshield wipers to blend that brow bone color right into my darker shades. Now we have our eyelids done, so now we're gonna work on the lower lash line. So I'm gonna go back into the medium fluffy brush, the Absolute Shadow brush, and this is the brush that we used for the pink Sunlit Rose color. So I'm gonna go back into that brush and I'm also gonna go back into that color very lightly, knock off the excess, and I'm going to put this on my bottom lash line. So you're going to want to look down and look up to make sure that you get that lower lash line. So I start on the outside and I bring my product in towards the center. Once I have that nice pink color on the bottom lash line, then I'm going to go in with a very precise line type brush. You can either use an angle brush or I have here a pro liner brush. And I'm going to go into my Hot Fudge color and I'm going to just use it on the end and I'm going to go right inside of my lash line. I'm not going below it, I'm not going above it, I'm right inside of my lash line. I'm starting on the outside edge and I'm just taking this product and wiggling it in between my hairs and placing it right into my lash line. And I'm slowly pulling it in. I want the darkest of the color on the outside, so that's where I start. Today, I'm not going to put on any fake lashes just because I want this to be like a natural everyday look. If I were going out on date night, I would totally throw on some fake lashes. Especially if you're doing this look for Valentine's, then I would absolutely throw on some fake lashes and go have some fun. Okay, so I'm going to build up my natural lashes and I'm going to use 2 different mascaras to do that. The first one is my base coat that I use. It's just the Ultimate Mascara by Mary Kay. It has a nice standard brush on it. So I'm just going to put a base coat. I like to get as close to my lashes as possible and almost to where I can feel the brush touching my eyelid, but not quite, if that makes sense. So you're gonna get up there and then I like to jiggle a little bit and then I pull out. So jiggle and pull out. And then whenever you see any lashes sticking together, just use your brush to pull them apart. So I jiggle and pull out. So that's a nice little base coat for my lashes. Your lashes don't really start acting like lashes until you get like 3 coats of mascara on them. So I do light layers. I don't want anything to build up and then I have spider legs on my eyes. So I just do light coats and I probably do 2 to 3 different coats. So the first coat I did with the Ultimate Mascara, and so I like to go in with the second coat with the Lash Intensity. So this is a thicker formula, it's a creamier formula, and it has this absolutely huge brush on it. One side of the brush has like very short bristles, and then you turn it and the bristles are long. So I like to use the long bristles first and really get in there and jiggle and then pull. And this really builds the volume to your lashes. This grabs those little tiny hairs that are down inside of there that haven't really grown out very long, and this gives you volume. Also, for my third coat, I went in again with the Lash Intensity, another light coat of Lash Intensity, and it just really built up my lashes. There's no microfibers in Lash Intensity. There's no microfibers in any of the mascaras that I use, just because microfibers in mascaras are very dangerous for your eyes. They could, I mean, they're microfibers, so you're not really going to see them very well. They could easily get into your eye, cause eye infections. It's not a good thing. So I would not suggest using any mascaras that have any microfibers in them. If you want to build up your lashes to make them look longer, then just use really light coats of mascara. Do a couple of swipes, let it dry, come back, do another couple of swipes, and you will build that lash to where it can get longer. But don't go too thick, because then you will have awful spider legs on your eyes. So I'd say go very light with your coats of mascara, and do multiple coats, at least 3 coats if you want full luscious lashes. When it comes to my bottom lash line, I'm not a huge fan of putting mascara on my bottom lashes, just because my bottom lashes are pretty long. And so after I put mascara on my bottom lash line and then say I look down, then boom, I have mascara on like the bottom parts of my eye socket here. So I don't like to use mascara on the bottom part of my lashes. But if you like to, that is totally your thing. You do you, and it will, I'm sure, look amazing. Especially if you have very small, short lashes on the bottom. Just take your original formula. I wouldn't use the thicker formula because you don't want it to be all like caked up on the bottom or anything, but I would just take the original formula that was our first coat, and I would lightly touch it. Touch and pull. But I wouldn't go overboard with the bottom lash line. All right, ladies, that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed my tutorial, and I hope you like this look. If you have any questions or comments, just type them below. Give this video a thumbs up, and I hope to see you next time.